Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive. This time, we're going to be tackling leadership,
Okay.
but from a pretty unique angle.
All right. I'm intrigued. What is it?
So we're using Leadership That Lasts by Sekone Prince as our source material.
Okay.
But here's the twist. We're not actually going to jump into the main text right away.
Interesting.
We're focusing on the front matter.
So kind of a behind-the-scenes look before the main event?
Exactly. Like we're kind of getting a sneak peek into the author's mind before we even open up the book itself.
I like it. So what are we working with? What does this front matter include?
So we've got some excerpts from the dedication, the foreword, and of course, the table of contents.
Okay, so we're going to see what kind of leadership secrets we can glean just from these sections.
Precisely. It's amazing what you can learn from these often overlooked parts of a book.
Oh, absolutely. They can offer a surprisingly rich understanding of the author's perspective.
Yeah.
Like, for example, let's start with the dedication. Now, we don't actually know who Sekone dedicated the book to.
Right.
But I find myself wondering what kind of person receives a dedication for a book about lasting leadership? What qualities might they embody that resonated so deeply with Sekone?
That's a great question. Makes me think about the role of mentors and inspiration, in shaping a leader's journey.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Maybe it's someone who, embodies the very principles Sekone writes about. Someone who showed him what lasting leadership really looks like firsthand.
It's certainly possible.
Yeah.
And that leads us to the foreword,
Okay.
which is written by James J. Williams. Now, one thing that immediately caught my eye was that he highlights his experience as an author and speaker and veteran,
Oh, yeah.
even a success expert. And he even empathizes his military rank,
So it seems like we're dealing with someone who really values achievement and experience.
Yeah, and probably a very structured approach,
Yeah.
But then he goes on to share this anecdote about meeting Sekone at an elevator pitch competition.
Right. Which seems kind of an unusual setting for a seasoned military officer,
Yeah, it definitely suggests that he's open to new ideas and new approaches. He's willing to step outside those traditional structures.
Yeah.
And what I found really interesting was the fact that he was already a published author himself.
Oh, wow.
And he seemed genuinely impressed by Sekone's pitch. I mean, that speaks volumes about Sekone's ability to command attention.
Right.
Articulate his vision.
Yeah, especially since Sekone won with both a 3D graphic presentation and a video.
I know, right? It's like I'm picturing a scene straight out of Silicon Valley.
Totally. Not some stuffy boardroom.
Exactly. So it suggests that Sekone's not afraid to embrace innovation, right? He uses these creative methods to get his message across. And that ties into Williams's point about leadership not being about grand gestures, but rather, as he puts it, every meeting, every conversation, every encounter.
Yeah, it seems like Sekone really embodies that principle. He sees that opportunity to show his leadership qualities, even in this unexpected setting.
He did.
So maybe the lesson here is that impactful leadership, it's not confined to, specific roles or environments.
Right.
It's about consistently demonstrating your abilities in any situation you find yourself in. And then Williams takes it a step further by saying that Sekone's principles can be passed down for generations.
Right. That statement really struck me. What makes these principles so timeless,
Yeah.
so transferable?
It might be because they're rooted in something deeper than just tactics or techniques.
Yeah.
Maybe Sekone's principles tap into those universal human values and aspirations, like those fundamental qualities that just resonate across generations.
Absolutely. It makes you eager to see what those 10 principles are.
Oh, I know. I'm so curious now.
Me too.
And speaking of getting a glimpse of those principles, let's move on to the table of contents,
Okay.
which is it's almost like a roadmap to Sekone's leadership philosophy.
It is, yeah. Like the blueprint.
Okay, let's unpack this roadmap. What jumps out at you?
Well, we see a pretty fascinating pattern emerge right away. Several chapters focus on cultivating these inner character traits,
Okay.
like integrity, humility, gratitude. So it seems that Sekone believes that lasting leadership, it starts from within,
Yeah, makes sense.
with a solid foundation of personal values.
You can't effectively lead others if you haven't done the work on yourself first.
Right.
It's like trying to build a house on a shaky foundation. It's just going to crumble eventually.
Precisely. But what's intriguing is that it's not just about being a good person, in isolation.
Right.
It's about translating those inner qualities into outward action.
Okay.
Other chapters focus on things like communication and empowering others and building a team.
So it's not enough to just possess these positive traits. You have to actively use them in your interactions with others.
Exactly.
Okay.
So the table of contents really suggests that Saccone sees leadership as this dynamic process. It involves both inner development and outward engagement. It's this constant interplay between who you are and how you act.
That's interesting. Yeah, it's like he's weaving together both the being and the doing of leadership.
Right, and that actually leads to a small detail that
What?
caught my eye in the front matter.
Okay.
It mentions additional resources.
Oh, yes.
Ugh.
What do you make of that?
Well, we don't know the specifics, but, it suggests that Saccone isn't just presenting theory.
Right.
He's giving readers tools to apply these principles in their own lives.
So it's not just about understanding the concepts. It's about actually putting them into action,
Exactly.
turning knowledge into concrete results.
Precisely. It's like he's providing a toolbox,
I like that.
equipped with everything you need
Yeah.
to build your leadership journey step by step.
It makes me think about the difference between admiring a beautiful building and actually having the blueprints
Right.
to construct one yourself.
That's a great analogy.
Saccone seems to be empowering his readers
Yeah.
to become the architects of their own leadership destinies.
I love that. And it circles back to our initial approach with this deep dive,
Okay.
by examining these often overlooked elements
Yeah.
of the front matter. We've uncovered some pretty significant clues about Saccone's philosophy.
And we haven't even scratched the surface of the 10 principles.
I know.
It's like we found the treasure map,
Right.
and now we're about to embark on the adventure.
I'm excited to see where this journey takes us.
Me too. But before we dive into the core of the book, I think it's worth pausing and just reflecting on what we've learned so far.
Yeah, good idea. We started this deep dive
Yeah.
with the idea of exploring leadership from a unique angle, and I have to say it's already more insightful than I anticipated.
Me too. It's amazing what you can glean from just paying attention to the details.
The things that are often overlooked.
Right. And I think this approach itself embodies a key principle of leadership:
Oh, how so?
being observant, paying attention to those subtle cues and underlying patterns.
That's such an important point. It's not just about having these grand visions or making bold pronouncements.
Right.
It's about really honing your ability to perceive
Yeah.
the nuances and the needs of the people around you.
And that reminds me of William's emphasis on consistency, how true leadership is reflected in every meeting, every conversation, every encounter.
It's about showing up as a leader in those small moments, not just waiting for the big stage.
Exactly.
It's in those everyday interactions that we have the opportunity to practice, these leadership qualities.
Right. Integrity, humility, communication.
Empowering others.
It's almost like a hidden dimension of leadership
Yes,
that's woven into our daily lives, just waiting to be activated.
I like that.
And that brings up an interesting question for our listener.
It does. If leadership is truly about those everyday actions and interactions, how can you embody these principles today?
Yeah, where can you step up and lead, even in small ways? What opportunity might present itself in your workplace or your relationships, your community?
It might be a simple act of kindness.
Right.
A willingness to listen with empathy, a moment of courage to speak up.
Yeah, what seemingly insignificant action could you take today that might have ripple effects for years to come?
What kind of legacy are you building?
One interaction at a time.
These are questions worth pondering as you continue on your own leadership journey.
And if this exploration of the front matter of leadership that lasts has sparked your curiosity,
Yeah.
we highly encourage you to delve into the full book.
You can find a link to it in our show notes, and we'd love to hear your thoughts on what resonated with you most from this deep dive.
Definitely. What new perspectives did you gain? Share your insights with us on social media, and let's keep this conversation going.
Because that's what this is all about. Learning, growing, and inspiring each other to become the best leaders we can be.
And sometimes the most profound insights
Yeah,
come from the least expected places,
they do.
like the front matter of a book. It's funny how we often think of leadership
Yeah,
as, like grand titles
right.
and these positions of authority.
Absolutely.
But what we're seeing here
Yeah,
is that true leadership kind of transcends those ideas.
it really does. It's like a subtle current, running beneath the surface.
Yes.
Connecting us all through this shared capacity to influence and inspire.
And it's not about, waiting to be given permission or waiting for that promotion to step into leadership. It's recognizing that we all have the potential to step up,
Absolutely.
regardless of our, job title.
It doesn't matter if you're the CEO or you're, an entry-level employee.
Yeah, and that can be so empowering.
Oh, it is incredibly empowering.
It means that we're not limited by those external circumstances,
Right.
but by our own choices to embody those leadership qualities.
Precisely. We can choose to act with integrity and communicate clearly and listen with empathy,
Yeah.
empower those around us, whether or not we have leader in our job title.
Right. It's about leading from wherever we are,
It is.
with whatever influence we have.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like that famous quote, be the change you want to see in the world.
Exactly. We can't just sit back and wait for someone else to fix things or to show us the way.
We have to be those leaders
Right.
that we want to see.
Starting right now.
And that's what I find so compelling about, this whole deep dive. It's a call to action for all of us
Yeah.
to step into our potential to lead with intention,
Yeah.
with integrity in every aspect of our lives.
And who knows, maybe by doing so, we'll inspire others to do the same.
Right?
Creating that ripple effect of positive change.
Yeah, absolutely.
That goes way beyond just ourselves.
I think that's the real essence of leadership that lasts.
Yeah.
It's a legacy built not on, fleeting achievements or positions of power,
Right.
but on those consistent everyday choices.
It all comes back to consistency, doesn't it?
It really does those little things that we
Yeah.
do each and every day.
So as we wrap up this deep dive
Yeah.
into the front matter of leadership that lasts, we want to leave you with this final thought-provoking question.
Okay.
How will you answer the call to leadership today?
That's a good one to ponder.
We hope you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of leadership. And remember, leadership isn't a destination. It's a journey.
A journey we're all on together.
So keep exploring, keep learning, and keep leading. Make sure to check out the full book, Leadership That Lasts, by Sakone Prince. We have a link for it in the show notes.
And be sure to share your thoughts with us. We're on all the socials.
Until next time.